I'm sorry, who needs to grow up? Who needs to grow up? No one is guaranteed respect. I'm sure that isn't a bad omen. I'm sure that doesn't portend anything, right? Right?
We will inspect your home.
Warning. Episodes may contain discussion of potentially triggering subjects. Please see the description for more information. I have to do this one first. This is very silly. Am I the hole for forcing out a fart to get my mom to stop asking my girlfriend invasive questions in front of the whole family? You use the tools you have available to you to support your partner. That's romance, baby. Romance isn't dead. Thank God. I know what it sounds like, but I swear it's a desperate situation. So I, 23 male, have been with my girlfriend, 22 female, for 7 months. She has a visible scar on her neck and she hates to be asked about it and hates to tell the story behind it. Believe it or not, I don't have the story yet, but I'm waiting till she's comfortable to share. She met my family several times, and of course, mom and aunts ask about her scar, like 3 to 4 times in just a couple of hours. Then at dinner, then during movie time, etc. It got bothersome and my girlfriend would look uncomfortable, and I could just tell that the question itself brings her sadness. I told my mom to stop asking such invasive questions about the scar, and every time she'd say, okay, won't ask, I promise, but then she would turn around and do it again. On Mother's Day, my girlfriend and I attended dinner at mom's. We were sitting in the living room. My mom goes to ask my girlfriend about the scar again, this time with a bigger audience because the whole family is there. My girlfriend said she'd rather not talk about it, but mom kept cornering her and asking her in yes/no form. I was sitting next to mom and forced a loud fart in an attempt to take pressure and attention away from my girlfriend and to get mom to switch her focus to something else. I was like, whoops, and the family started laughing. Mom turned to me and gave me a nasty stare. It got awkward, not gonna lie, but I was desperate and couldn't really yell at my mom to stop and start a fight on Mother's Day, so I thought of this instead of making a scene. She pulled me into the kitchen and scolded me for what I did after I admitted that I did it intentionally. She called me childish and said that if I didn't want her to bring up my girlfriend's scar, then I should have said. But I did. I swear, like 100 times. Anyway, my girlfriend and I left and my girlfriend couldn't stop laughing in the car. Unfortunately, Dad was upset too, saying I behaved poorly and childish in front of the extended family and told me to grow up. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry, who needs to grow up? Who needs to grow up? It sounds like the guy who made a distraction because someone was being inconsiderate of someone else's feelings is more emotionally mature than your dumbass. Not the hole. New Dickie going live for the #1 hole inspector post so far. Am I the hole for canceling Mother's Day celebration that I arranged for my wife after hearing what she told my son? I, male 37, have a 13-year-old son. I was a widower when I met my now wife. She has a 16-year-old daughter from another relationship. The family is often on pretty good terms. My son is the quiet one in the house. He keeps to himself a lot, but not to the point of being concerning. My wife and stepdaughter are the complete opposite. They both encourage him to be outgoing and share activities and join gatherings with extended family. My son complained about having to be forced out of his comfort zone and having his need for space invalidated. I spoke to both my wife and stepdaughter and asked them to give him space and freedom to spend his time however he wanted. They apologized and promised to let him be. Okay, establishment of boundaries, communication on all sides. What a great start to a story. But then we have a paragraph afterwards that's 4 times as long. I'm sure that isn't a bad omen. I'm sure that doesn't portend anything, right? Right? As Mother's Day was approaching, I wanted to throw my wife a surprise Mother's Day celebration. It was no longer a surprise because my stepdaughter gave her the heads up so she could prepare. Yesterday, I got off work earlier than usual to get final arrangements done. We planned to celebrate at the restaurant and invited her family there. I had the key, and while I was entering the house through the front door, I overheard my wife and stepdaughter talking to my son. I've got a bad feeling in my entire body about what is about to be said right now. My wife was asking my son if he could convince me to let him stay home and not go with them to the restaurant to celebrate. I paused and decided to keep listening. My son said why, and she told him that his introverted and socially inept attitude will make her family uncomfortable and will ruin the mood. Wow, that's fucked up. He promised her that he'd be well behaved and would try to interact and socialize with everyone, but she said she wasn't buying it. He kept reassuring her, but she snapped and told him that technically she's not his mom, so she didn't get why he wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with her so badly. Well, you're not the mother of my child, I guess, so I guess we don't need a Mother's Day celebration after all, huh? You don't get to decide whether or not you are the mother to a stepchild, to an older stepchild, right? But sometimes they will make that decision. They do want you in their lives. They do want you to participate in a motherly fashion, and they do accept you into their lives like that. To have that thrown back, to throw that back in a child's face, I think is even more disrespectful. My stepdaughter threw some, I don't remember, backhanded comment, and then the both of them were shocked to see me standing there. Both were staring without saying anything. I told my son and his stepsister to go to their rooms, then told my wife that the celebration was off, canceled. She tried to argue, asking why repeatedly, and I told her why. She tried to explain that she didn't mean it like that, and that I only heard part of the conversation, but not all of it. I told her I was done arguing, and the decision was already made. She yelled, asking what she was going to tell her family, and said that I was making tremendous mistakes towards her. I ignored her while she kept throwing tantrum after tantrum. Early this morning, she took my stepdaughter and went to stay with her folks. Not a single call or text from her so far. Situation is full of tension. I'm upset, but still more hurt, to be honest. I mean, yes, I did say I was going to have this celebration, but I thought what she said to my son was too harsh to ignore. Yeah, absolutely. Standing up for your children is the number one priority always. You showed your son that you will have his back no matter what. Even standing in front of the people that you love who are trying to harm him. Not the whole guarantee they have done this before. Circle the wagons, protect your son. Such disgusting abuse from your wife upon your son. To make it even worse, she is raising her daughter to be cruel and exclusionary. Your son deserves so much better. OP responds, from the looks of it, I'm afraid they have, especially my wife. I know her, she can be harsh sometimes. She kept saying I ruined Mother's Day for her, but in my opinion, her harsh words that she directed at my son ruined a whole lot more. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Agreed. OP responds, I did, but he preferred to have some space and not talk about what happened until he's ready. It's whenever I'm always available to hear him out. What a good dad. What a good dad. Reddit's best dads right here. Stick up for your fucking kids, dude. Okay. I had to proofread this one because it was weird. Am I the whole wife asked for it and then got upset when it happened? I'm 38 male, a wrestler. I used to compete at a high level. Obviously, I don't compete anymore, but I still lift weights and wrestle for fun. My wife, 36 female, and I have 3 kids, 15 female, 11 male, 9 female. I enrolled all our kids in wrestling at the age of 7. The older 2 have been training and competing since then, and the youngest didn't like the sport, so she quit, and now she's doing gymnastics. My wife has never wrestled, but she goes to the gym regularly, and she has decent strength. Yesterday, I was chatting with my wife, and the topic of our daughter's wrestling tournament came up, and she asked me, what do I think will happen if her and our daughter wrestled? And I told her that she has no chance. She answered, she's not beating me. I'm much stronger. And I told her, you can try if you want to, but I'm telling you, you will get ragdolled. And she said, okay, let's do it then. So I called our daughter into the backyard and told her that her mom wants to wrestle. They wrestled while me and the other kids were watching, and just like I told her, my wife got handled with ease. When they were done, it didn't last long, my wife laughed it off and acted fine, but as soon as it was only me and her, she said to me, so you knew how that wrestling match was gonna go? I answered yes, and she said, and you still let it happen. I got embarrassed by my own child in front of my other children, and now they're not going to look at me the same way. I told her she is the one who asked for it, and the idea that our kids will not look at her the same way is completely false, because I taught our kids to be graceful and respectful in victory and defeat. And I'm pretty sure they have respect for their mother regardless of what happens in a wrestling match. Oh, even after I said that, she wasn't convinced and still upset, which is not justified in my opinion. Am I the whole? No. You literally told her that she was gonna get bodied in a wrestling match by her 15-year-old daughter, and then she got bodied. Yeah, case of FAFO for real. Let's see what Reddit has to say. Not the whole, but your wife might want to look into a few therapy sessions to help her deal with authority/hierarchy issues in a more healthy way. As the kids get older, the I'm in charge because I'm bigger, stronger, better at everything/the adult attitude gets less and less helpful. And having a big chip on your shoulder instead of working with kids who should be getting more independent gets more and more counterproductive. Someone with some outside perspective and experience with reframing conflicts like that might be a big help when it's higher stakes than a backyard wrestling match. I think Reddit ate here with that. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, literally the next comment is, especially because she's mad at him for not asserting authority over her to stop her from doing something she wanted to do. That's really, really good. I'm sorry for the misleading title, but not the asshole gets it in a huge giganto payout. Hog is my word of choice. Am I the whole for blowing up on my son's girlfriend? My husband thinks I'm in the right, but my niece helped me make this post on here to see what other people think. I, 52 female, have 3 sons, ages ranging from 13 to 20. My oldest son, 20, has a girlfriend, 19, that hangs around our house a lot. It's a really small house and doesn't have a lot of space. She's a nice girl, but gets on my nerves sometimes because she's always over. I really don't think she's right for my son either. Our tap water has a weird aftertaste, so I order gallon water bottles and use them to refill a big glass bowl with a tap. Okay. It's not cheap to get water and other groceries delivered, so I tell my son's husband and the girlfriend to be courteous of the other people who live here and not use up the water. It runs out fast in our big household. Yesterday, I caught her filling up her big metal water bottle with the jug of water, and I calmly told her that other people live here too, and she shouldn't hog the water all to herself. She was rather short with me and said something along the lines of, actually, this water bottle is big enough to hold all of the water someone should be drinking in a day. I'm not hogging water, I'm just trying to stay hydrated. I found her tone to be disrespectful and ordered her to leave. She scoffed and went back to my son's room. That's when I really got frustrated. I opened their door and told her she has to leave. My son got really angry with me and told me that my girlfriend didn't do anything wrong and why is it a crime for her to drink water. I explained that I order this water for our family to use, not leeches who hang around all day rent-free. My son's girlfriend got a little teary-eyed and left the room and out the front door without saying anything. My son told me that I was being a major a-hole and should have just minded my business. I think she's just wasteful and a brat. Am I the hole? I don't think this is really about the water. OP said in the beginning she doesn't like the girl. If it wasn't this, it'd be something else. No, exactly. Absolutely. The water is just a really fun medium for me to use clips from Mad Max and equating this old woman to a post-apocalyptic war raider dictator. Thanks for all the comments. I've spoken to my son about the issue and you all made me realize that it was deeper than just the water. I showed him this post and explained that it's not her, it's me. I think she reacted that way when I initially told her off for filling up the bottle because, and my son helped me realize this too, I was never really nice to her to begin with. In the course of the 3-year relationship, in my defense, she only started hanging around our house a lot about 6 months ago because she got a license. We called her on the phone this morning and I apologized for my reaction to the bottle. I explained that I didn't mean to make her feel bad about the water. It really wasn't that big of a deal and I feel silly for making it a big deal. She apologized for having an attitude and explained how she can feel a little defensive around me sometimes. I told her and my son that I will work on my attitude. My husband still thinks she was being disrespectful, but I explained that I'm the reason she felt the need to act that way in the first place.
No one is guaranteed respect. You must give if you expect it in turn. Growth.
It's not my choice who my son decided to date, and I need to respect his choice. I think she is a sweet girl, and I feel horrible for the way I have been treating her. Again, thank you for everyone for making me realize my mistake. P.S. I've looked into purchasing a Brita pitcher to see if it is more cost effective. My son's girlfriend now brings water from home, although I didn't tell her to do that. It's yes, the asshole for the situation, but growth still rules. Absolutely. You were still an asshole, but I'm glad you learned from it.
Ooh. My, what lovely feet.